You can ignore a credit card bill. You can dodge collection calls. You can even stop paying a lender. But there is one entity in this country you cannot outwait, and that's the IRS. They don't get emotional, they don't get tired, and they don't forget. If you think unpaid taxes just go away, this video is going to sober you up. My name is David, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, wealth, and how stewardship actually compounds over time. If you're someone who works hard, loves God, tries to be responsible, but sometimes avoids the financial stuff you don't want to look at, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's how it usually starts. You owe a few thousand. Maybe you're self-employed and underpaid quarterly estimates. Maybe you withdrew from a retirement account. Maybe you just didn't withhold enough. You open the notice. You feel that tightness in your chest, and you think, I'll handle this next month. I just need a little time. It's not that much. But here's what most people don't realize. The IRS is not like a credit card company. Creditors have to sue you. The IRS doesn't. They administratively enforce. That's a different level of authority. Ignoring them doesn't pause the process. It accelerates it. Let's walk through it calmly. Stage 1. Notices. You start receiving letters. CP14, CP501, CP503. Each one gets more serious. Meanwhile, failure to pay penalties start immediately. Interest accrues daily, not monthly. Daily. The failure to pay penalty alone can reach up to 25% of your unpaid balance. So if you owe $10,000, you're not staying at $10,000. You're moving toward $12,000, $13,000, sometimes more. Tax debt grows faster than most people's retirement accounts. Stage 2, federal tax lien. If it continues unresolved, the IRS can file a federal tax lien. That becomes public record. It attaches to your home, your property, your financial assets. It can damage credit. It signals to lenders. This debt comes first, not your mortgage, not your car, the government. Stage 3, levy. Now this is where it gets serious. A levy is not a threat, it's action. They can garnish wages, they can seize bank accounts. Now let's talk about something people don't discuss. The stress. Tax debt does something unique to the mind. You start avoiding mail, avoiding calls, avoiding conversations. Avoidance becomes a habit, and avoidance spreads. You avoid looking at other numbers. You avoid budgeting. You avoid facing reality. And that avoidance compounds spiritually and mathematically. Proverbs 22:7 says, "The borrower is servant to the lender." Tax debt creates a similar dynamic, not just financially, mentally. You are no longer operating freely. You're operating under pressure. Now let's be clear, this is not about blind allegiance. This is about stewardship. Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." Romans 13:7 says, "Pay to all what is owed to them." Scripture doesn't encourage fear, but it does encourage responsibility. Ignoring taxes is not rebellion, it's presumption. James 4:13-14 reminds us that life is a vapor. Presuming you'll fix it later without a plan, that's not faith, that's delay. God calls us to wisdom. Wisdom addresses obligations early. Tax problems don't start with greed, they start with disorganization. Self-employed individuals forget quarterly payments. People spend money that technically belongs to taxes. Bonuses come in, side income increases, lifestyle adjusts, but withholding doesn't, and slowly a gap forms. Then avoidance widens it, and now you're behind. And because you're behind, you avoid. And because you avoid, it grows. That's the spiral. The way out now, listen carefully. The IRS punishes avoidance more than inability. That's important. If you owe and can't pay in full, file anyway. Non-filing penalties are worse than failure to pay penalties. Communicate. Installment agreements exist. Offer and compromise programs exist in certain situations, but they require action. Cut lifestyle immediately. This is emergency level priority. Increase income temporarily if necessary. Short-term sacrifice beats long-term garnishment. And moving forward, build tax discipline. Separate account for taxes. Automatic transfers, quarterly reminders. Treat tax money like it's never yours, because it isn't. The bigger lesson. Here's the bigger principle. If you build a life with no margin, if you spend what isn't fully yours, if you presume tomorrow will always cooperate, eventually something collects. Sometimes it's the IRS. Sometimes it's interest. Sometimes it's stress. God's way is not panic. It's preparation, not fear, structure, strong. You can outrun discomfort. You cannot outrun obligation. The IRS doesn't forget, but neither does disciplined stewardship. One compounds pressure, the other compounds peace. Choose which one compounds in your life and act before someone else acts for you. And that works.